Okay, so today I'm going to give you the quick guide to a strategy slash daily task that I do that has changed my life. Like, not only has it helped me squash the inner critic, inner bitch, whatever you want to call that person, it's also helped me with my follow through, which has completely changed my confidence. And then lastly, it's helped me reach my goals, because once I have implemented this thing, I learned that it was just a matter of having the right strategy, adding it into this, and game changer. I've started my podcast because of this. I've completely changed every part of me, in this. Now, let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Amy Ledeen, and I was on a mission 17 years ago to drastically change my life, actually 18 now, and went on to lose 90 plus pounds. Let's call it 100, honestly, but 90 plus pounds through good old fashioned diet and exercise. And honestly, let's face it, follow through. It was due to my consistency and just always being able to do it. And it's also why I've been able to keep it off this long. I'm a fat loss coach by trade, and what I've seen over the years is a lot of people are incentivized to lose the fat, but even when they get there, this is where they struggle. They struggle with the follow through of the daily habits. And then they don't realize that before they know it, they're in a cycle of maybe overindulging, restricting, and they don't feel good about themselves. That was me. Several years ago, while I may have looked this way, I didn't feel good about myself, because in order to sustain it, my follow through was starting to waver. And so I would have binges and I would restrict, and then I would start Monday, and then I would, look to the outside eye, like I said, the same, but I was crushing myself inside. And what finally happened is, as I started to set out for other goals, I noticed that my follow through sucked. I didn't know this directly. This all came, this daily task that I do by accident. I would get in bed at night, and that inner critic, inner bitch is just like, she's the meanest. She reminds me of all the things that I'm not doing to be to the aligned self that I see. And our aligned best self is only something you can create. It's when you close your eyes, what your best self's doing. And so I was out of alignment. And so I started to just write down this Post-it note task to follow through with, not realizing that this was going to change my life. Now, since this is the quick guide, we'll save the rest of that story for my 21-day follow-through challenge. But for those of you that are like, I did your quiz, Amy, or I follow you on Instagram, I've listened to your podcast, I need to know what these daily agreement cards are and how do I get started today? Because all you need is a notebook, or my preferred way, which is the index card. So you need a stack of index cards and a pen. And today I'm going to teach you how to get started, and you can do your first one today to start tomorrow. Okay. So what you're going to do, there's some mandatory things in the card, and then you're going to see over time that a lot of this can shift. But for the most part, you're going to see 4 agreements every day at minimum, along with 4 hard rules that I have along with it, that they should be, assumed, but they're not always. And you know what? We have this voice of compromise inside that finds every which way to sabotage us. Okay. So every day on your card, you're going to be, like I said, just get an index card. Take mine up here. I put at the top my daily agreements. I put the date, and then I start with a bang, B, which is my behavior agreement. Now, behavior agreements are, there's so many ways you can go with this. It could be one that maybe you have really been sucking at getting up in the morning, and you say you're getting up, you set your alarm, and then you hit snooze for an hour. And then that actually just eats at you, as the day goes on, because that had you not hit the snooze, you'd be in a different place in that day, right? So that's a great behavior one. Maybe it is that you just have not been drinking a lot of water. That's a behavior, daily drinking. You'd want to get specific, but you could put that. Another behavior would be, for me, have intentional play with my kids. I found that my behaviors, I'm not really playful, and that was like a specific thing that I could do to change that. Where the behavior agreement came from was Nicole LaPera, the holistic psychologist on Instagram. If you don't follow her, she talks a lot about future self journaling. And in order to change habits and patterns in yourself, you need to, one, assess and decide on a behavior you want to change. And then for 30 days at the least, you need to write that out. And so for me, it would be like, I'm not going to overreact. And then I would write out what my day was going to look like. So the reason why I implemented this into the daily agreement cards, because this is the last one that we've put in here, was because change takes time and it takes intention. I can say all I want, that I want to be more playful with my kids, but if I am not writing it down every day, until it's a habit, I forget. It's not the natural patterning of my brain, so I have to be intentional. So the behavior agreement, the sky's the limit. If you do my 21-day challenge, you end up seeing in our little workbook that they get tons of examples, but you can really go anywhere in this. I had just recently no social media for the first hour. It was really nagging at me. I was wasting a lot of time in the morning. Perfect behavior to change. Okay. Next is an activity agreement. Now, if you have things that are already habits in your life, you do not need to be putting that as your activity agreement. It needs to be something else. Maybe it's stretching. Maybe it's you need to go for a walk. I'm a big believer in that movement really matters. So even if it's only for 10 minutes, we all should be doing something with our body each day. Maybe it's 5 minutes of stretching. Maybe it is a 10-minute walk. Maybe it is actually going to the gym and training. Whatever it is, every day needs to have an activity. Okay. Now, someone like me that was going through chemo and sometimes I would push it too much, my activity was actually to be intentionally resting. So you're going to know your best self, because you'll feel good about yourself if you're choosing ones that are challenging enough with you, yet, ones that are necessary. Because sometimes people just make this a list of like, oh, it doesn't really matter if I do this or not, but this looks good. So don't be doing that. All right. Next is the N, which stands for nutrition agreement. Again, like activity, I truly believe, not just because I'm a fat loss coach, but because we need to be more health minded. And that is, we need to have intention around our nutrition every day. So this forces you to assess your nutrition and go, what is my goal for tomorrow? Is it to drink more water? Is it to follow a meal plan? Is it to not have any snacks after X time of day? Whatever it is, this is where you're going to put it. And it's great. You can start really small, but a great place to start is your water, or if you're getting fruits and vegetable servings in every day, super easy. Taking it to the other extreme would be following your meal plan. And the reason why I love this for all clients is it's assumed that when someone hires me for fat loss, of course they want to follow their meal plan, but for some reason or another, they really suck at that follow through. I bring them through this so that they can start with small things and build some wins with it. So know that eventually it is assumed you want to be 100% aligned to what you say you're going to do. But maybe that actual agreement and writing it out, it just seems so unrealistic to you because it's been so long since you've done it. So start small. Hey, I need to be on 100% for 3 of my 5 meals, or I need to just not step into my pantry after 7 p.m. That's going to be a win because that's where I'm losing at night. Like be really creative with it. And then the last one is G, which is your growth agreement. And this is any area of your life that's nagging. I always say that if you aren't practicing daily gratitude, start there. Start with making this be on your first card that you are going to spend 5 minutes in gratitude. Of course, getting more specific if you want, getting a gratitude journal. But if you don't have gratitude in your life, I truly believe it's like one of the biggest pillars, staples to where you need to start with personal development. But other growth ones might be, hey, reading daily. It might be, I need to work 30 minutes on this other extra thing that I'm trying to do as a side hustle. It might be, I need to spend 15 minutes doing accounting. Every day it can change, but ideally in the beginning, you're choosing things that are nagging at you that could be daily habits in your life. Growth one for me might be washing my face before bed because I'm so terrible about leaving makeup on. Just know that the sky's the limit with what you can do in terms of getting creative. Now, the way I've written it out here is pretty much how I would write it out on a card. I'd have the B, the A, the N, the G. I left some space here because over time, as you make these part of your life, then this can be where you add in extra agreements. 4 is the minimum, but you can do more than that. And I encourage that if you find that you are someone that does well with gamification, okay? And then the S at the bottom of your card. So if you're looking here at one of my cards, I'll do a close up. You see I've got the BANG, and then down here is the S for strategy. Okay, so you're always going to have an S at the bottom. Sometimes you're going to be filling it out and sometimes you are not. But the rule with the daily agreement cards is you're going to list out your agreements that you're agreeing to. I usually put even like a box, so I can check it off. And then down here, the rule is that if then you're going to put a W and an L for win-loss, because again, you're going to track this all day. Okay, so you're writing up your agreements. Now we're going to track them. And as we track them, if you win all of them, because you have to achieve each one of these in order to get the win for the day. So even if you get 3 of 4, it's still considered a loss. Don't see that as a place to shame yourself. See it as then when you have a loss, you have to write out 2 strategies of what would have you winning. So see it as an opportunity to make it a learn, because so many of us are on cycles or patterns of saying what we know to be true, like, oh, I need to get up earlier, but you're doing jack crap about it, right? So this is gonna force your brain to know that there's some options. But let me give you the other rules that go along with the DC. So obviously you need to have an index card, or a journal that you're only using for this. You're gonna need to have the 4 agreements that I just mentioned on there. And then there's these other rules that apply. 1, you need to write out your agreement the day before. Here's why. Our best self is always looking into the future. In the moment, this is where we have like the juggling of, is this my best self or not, right? So doing it the night before, it sees the future as, hey, after I sleep, we're always going to set our goals higher. This is when we say things like, I'm not going to hit snooze tomorrow, or I'm going to be 100% on plan. And then we wake up in the morning and, it's cold to get out of the bed, so we hit snooze, right? This is why we do this the night before, because you're not going to be as advantageous about yourself in the moment. Doesn't mean you can't do a card the day of. There have been, times where I haven't done it at night. Hey, it's better to don't have the all or nothing attitude. My next best is take my card and write out my agreements first thing in the morning, right? So, but ideally you're writing it out the day before, okay? 2, seems like it should be common sense, but make agreements you intend to keep. Don't take this lightly. Don't put things on here that you don't plan to push yourself for. This is why I also say start small. If you have not been reading for years, don't put 30 minutes of reading every night. Start with 5. Go read Atomic Habits and learn the power of starting small and the compound effect of things, all right? So, but only make agreements of ones you intend to keep. If it's not something that you're feeling aligned, don't just do it to check the boxes. I find that some of us females do that. It just makes us feel better, right? 3, this is a very important one, and I purposely didn't say things over here as examples because I want to show you the difference. And that is, rule number 3 is you got to be specific and you have to clarify. It can't be the behavior agreement, get up earlier. How much earlier? 10 minutes earlier, 20 minutes earlier, give a specific time. You can't allow the voice of compromise to find room in your agreements to eat away at you. Like let's say that your activity agreement was, oh, I'm going to go work out. You walk into the gym, your lazy self is there today, obviously, because the first thing you say is, well, I came, technically, check it off my box. I went to the gym. So if you know that you're someone that's going to negotiate, you need to be super specific. With my training, I might even put leg day, Amy, do all exercises listed on paper. Because I don't want to just show up and check up the box and go, well, I did do leg day. I did most of it. It's important. If that's been nagging at me, well, then I'm going to write that as my activity agreement. I'm going to be very specific and be super clear on what I want, because like I said, voice of compromise will come in. And then last is, if the agreement needs to be broken, you need to renegotiate immediately. So perfect example. Let's say my nutrition agreement is that we're going out to dinner, and at dinner, we've been told that we're going to a steakhouse. So I even went on and I've checked out the restaurant. And so as my nutrition agreement, I put, at dinner, follow food rules for steakhouse. And, I'm going to have a steak, baked potato, whatever it may be, right? Whatever I decide to put. 30 minutes before we're leaving for the steakhouse, my girlfriend calls me and says, Amy, oh, you know what? We're going to Chinese buffet for dinner. I'm going to immediately want to renegotiate, because that was out of my control, and put new rules in place. It's not going to be a steakhouse anymore. Because here's the thing. Let's say that you don't put any rules and you're kind of an all or nothing person, and you just go, well, it said that I was going to eat steak. Now I can't. I'm at the Chinese place. Oh, well, I'm having it all. Your best self, right when it needs to renegotiate, is going to be its strongest. Don't wait till you get there. Don't wait until later. So let's say that your behavior agreement was to not hit snooze, okay? and out of your control, your kid is up all night long puking, and you realize by the third time they get up, with throwing up, that you're like, it's going to be hard for me to get up. Renegotiate right away, because otherwise your brain won't be able to, one, dump it, and two, you don't have the opportunity then to insert a new one that is now your best self. You really need to get over the all or nothing and learn that, hey, when it is out of your control, and that's the key, out of your control, you need to renegotiate immediately. Now, let's say that it was to hit no snooze, but you get up in the morning and, it is cold to get out, so you don't, that's a loss. Like, you didn't do it. Too bad that it's cold. You start to learn that, you do it no matter what. Now, since this is the quick guide, I want to give it to you quickly. So with those rules, you're going to create your first card, today. Get a deck of cards. There's nothing like fast action on this, because remember, these 4 things, believe it or not, are going to help you reach your fat loss goal. They're going to help you, make more money. They're going to help you reach your goals. Point being, they're going to help you do everything, because once you master these and you learn that your self-care, and when you are following through with yourself, you then want to show up as your best self. You start to see it no longer as the struggle, and instead it's the excitement of how I just need the right strategy. And that's what's happened with me. I now have like almost 1,000 cards that I've done. So I truly live this, in that I still keep behavior, activity, nutrition, and growth agreements always in here. But I've learned to insert, okay, today it's going to be, do my intro to my new podcast. Today it's going to be launch the new thing. And now that I know that I keep my word, it almost becomes scary to put it in writing, because I know that it's going to happen. Now, these technically should never end. This becomes a habit for you. So I encourage you, hey, do it on your own. It costs you nothing. Get the deck of cards and start, writing out your things and see if you follow through. It's a test, right? But to take it a step further and add some accountability is, join me for my 21-day follow-through challenge. It's $21, so it's $1 a day. You're going to get a video every day. You're going to get the reminders that you need, the daily software update that's going to remind you that this matters to you, because I promise you, by day 5 or 6, so many people are like, who cares about this thing? And I'm here to tell you, and I have countless testimonials for this can change your life. If you have any programs you've ever bought, whether it be a coaching program or even just like a course online that you've never finished and followed through with, stop buying those things and do this. Do my 21-day challenge. And you know what? In the meantime, this is free. It doesn't cost you anything. Get a piece of paper and start writing out the things that really are nagging at you. You can assess the areas of your life and turn them into agreements. And you know what? It's a game changer. So I hope this helps you. Come follow me. I'll have some podcast resources. Join me for the 21-day challenge. We do them at the first of every month, and it's going to change the game for you.